I really thank you for giving up an hour of your time to hear a little bit about our Inspire Leadership Programme. And I know that I've spoken to a few of you who are really interested in applying for it. So we thought, and this is part of the feedback we've had from cohort 1, really just to be able to put an evening like this on for those who are interested, just to be able to come and hear about the programme. Here's what expected of you if you were successful in getting on it. And I guess just a bit of history, really. I've been going around the 4 nations meeting members, and what members are telling me is that band 6s and around that sort of area are really struggling to think about how they get their leadership skills, how they develop their leadership skills, how they can think about career development, etc. So I went back to my executive team and to the board of trustees to see if there was some way we could get some funding to be able to offer a free leadership program for our members. Thankfully, the board have supported that in year 1, which is great. And it's been so successful that they have agreed to fund year 2 as well, which I'm absolutely delighted about. We are very lucky tonight in that we've got some of the cohort 1 colleagues with us, because it would be great to hear from them about what they thought of the programme as well. And it's just a real opportunity for us to share with you what the programme has done for individuals, what it's done for the Royal College as well in relation to profile building on the profession of speech and language therapists. So I'm absolutely delighted you're all able to join us and to hear a bit more about the plans and the what's expected from you if you were on the programme. So for those who don't know me, by the way, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Steve Jamieson. I'm the Chief Exec here at the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists. I've got colleagues with me. I've got Vicky, who will introduce herself in a moment. And I want to hand over to Rich, who is, well, Rich, you can say who you are and what you've done for us, and we'll take it from there. But really delighted to see so many people on board with us tonight.
Thanks very much, Steve. And I reiterate everything that Steve has said. And thank you very much for giving up your time this evening and for showing an interest in RCSLT's Inspire Leadership Programme. I've been on the journey with RCSLT this last year, facilitating the program and also supporting the development of the same. I've been involved in AHP leadership programs since 2018 across different membership organizations. So it's been lovely to learn and understand more about your profession. And it's been an absolute privilege and honor to take cohort 1 through the first year of this program. Very much a bespoke program for your profession. And that was something that Steve and the board of trustees really challenged me on at the beginning of last year, was to make sure that what we developed for you was not seen as an off-the-shelf offering. It was very much something that focused on 3 main elements that I'll take you through when I pull up my slides. But we wanted to focus in on the elements of self, team, and profession. And I'll explain why that's important with regards to how we develop the materials and the content of the program. But if it's all right with you, I'm going to pull up a slide deck just to take you through, really just to lead my thinking. I would suggest, for the benefit of this webinar, for me to go through those slides. If you don't mind, hold questions until the end, because there may well be questions. We're not going to fill the hour for the sake of it. This is your time. If you have questions that you would like to ask within the group, feel free to do so after my presentation. But also, equally, if there are any of you that have got questions specific to your own applications that you are putting on, I'll be here until 8 o'clock. So I'm more than happy to stay behind and field questions. So if it's all right with you, I'm just going to pull up a slide deck. Bear with me. I'm working across a couple of screens here. Let's just get rid of presenter mode. Bear with me. Can you all see a full screen in front of you? A thumb up from Vicky. Thank you. I did say hold questions until the end. Feel free to do that, but also if you want to capture some of your questions in the chat, please feel free to do the same, and I can pick those up at the end. So, as I said, this is not going to be death by PowerPoint, but what I went through with the RCSL team that is support pulling these slides together is really take you through what the learnings were from this fantastic group that you see in front of you. This is cohort 1, and a few of the guest speakers, 1 or 2 of the board of trustee members that came along to an opening session, the launch of this program last year, which was lovely to see everybody's involvement. And I'll absolutely say, from all those smiling faces, I was absolutely blown away by the effort that cohort 1 put into their learning. And it's a leadership program. That's something for you as potential applicants for year 2, is that a leadership program like this, you will get out of it as much as you apply yourself. And we absolutely saw that with all 18 applicants this last year. So what I would like to take you through is the following. So what I would like to cover is just some overall feedback, give you a thought and a flavor of what we will be taking you through on the program, both from a content and materials perspective, focusing on the application process, because I'm sure that's what you would like to hear about this evening, and then onward communications, and as I've already mentioned, any questions. So with your permission, I'll take you through that now. You'll see from the feedback that's in front of you, it was very well received, and it's lovely to be able to put up feedback like this for you to read through. I'm not going to read through it on your behalf here, but it's important to realize that RCSLT should and are very proud of what they managed to put together last year. It's a program that's been developed by a project team. The project team has been made up of academics, staff members of RCSLT, but also SLT clinicians working in practice. And Steve made himself available to all project meetings, which was fantastic that we were able to get input from himself and other trustees on the board. Other points to let you know while you're reading through that is, other than the feedback that's here, a member of cohort 1, Sarah Melvin, has just had an article published in SLT Voices that'll be up on your membership website, and it's really an article about her journey of learning. So if you get the opportunity, go and have a look at that article. It speaks volumes as to what she believes she was able to gain from the program. The involvement with 1 or 2 of the members of cohort 1 is very much here to support us with the development of the new program, not only the development and refinement of content, but also supporting refining the application process. And it's lovely to have Danielle and Victoria on the call this evening. So thank you for joining us. So overview of the program, it's broken down into some didactic learning, some face-to-face engagement, but also some evening seminars. This hybrid approach worked really well last year, so we've decided to keep it the same. The launch day is on Wednesday, the 29th of October, and it's going to be down at RCSLT head office. Lovely opportunity for you to meet other people that are on the program and network, but also to meet staff down at the college. That day, I'll take you through in a moment what you'll expect on that day, but it's very much a launch event to get you enthused and inspired and to understand how much you will be applying yourself to a program like this. The evening seminars have been broken down into, again, the main themes for the program, which is Seminar 1, Self, Seminar 2, Team, and then Seminar 3, very much talking about the profession and the development for yourself and understanding the materials that you could be using from RCSLT to further your professional development. And then we have a follow-up day, which is going to be in April next year. And that follow-up day is a day for reflection. It's a day for you to share back with your peers what you have learned, and for us to understand how we can further support you. Because one thing is absolutely clear with this program, and I'm sure those on cohort 1 will agree with me, is that although we've structured this as 2 in-person days and evening seminars, this is just the start of your journey. So those that have absolutely applied themselves can see how they continue working with the college to further their leadership development. And one of the points, again, that Steve had challenged me on is, how do we develop year on year with those that are enthused to come on the Inspire program, actually an RCSLT Leadership Alumni? And that's what we'll be expanding out on this year. So I already mentioned the breakdown of the program itself is into self, team, and profession. I won't go through all of that because all of this is available for you to look at in the application pack. But one or two of the points to pull out from here is that as part of the understanding of self and understanding self-awareness, we actually offer the opportunity for you to undertake a profiling assessment. It's called Spotlight Profile, and it's quite unique in what it is. It's a non-linear understanding of profiling. And the reason we've decided to use that within this program is it very much gives you an understanding of how to work within the team and team dynamic. And it's been developed for high functioning sports teams, interestingly enough. So you get opportunity to do the profile, and then you have about a 2-hour feedback session with an expert within the field. And then the gentleman's name is Bruce Isdale, and then he will take us through the first evening seminar. So that's an element around self. With regards to team, it's very much around team dynamics, understanding of difference between leadership and management, but also how to create an effective team culture. And then from this perspective of profession, what we decided to do this last year, and we will continue into this new program, is understanding more about networking, understanding more about inter and intraprofessional working with your other AHP colleagues, and understand absolutely how to work within that level of influencing with higher level stakeholders. So you'll see from that, although I've just taken you through 1 or 2 points on those 3 domains, there's a lot of information that you will be offered on this program. How much of that you take on board is very much determined by how much, again, you apply yourself. Very fortunate to have some fantastic speakers, both speakers from within the profession, but also keynote speakers that have supported us with other leadership understandings. With a program like this, it's important to understand about those that have been on leadership journeys that are part of your profession, but also to see how people have done that outside of that sphere of influence. And that was a really nice mix that we found worked really well last year. So the program contributors from last year are those people that you see in front of you, and those were the titles of the sessions that they ran. You won't be able to glean too much from that slide, other than we were very fortunate to have a very good mix of individuals. And I'm pleased to say that in reaching out to most, if not all of those individuals, they have committed their support for the new program. Not only that, we've extended the number of contributors for the new year, and it will be my challenge to make sure that we find the appropriate slot for the individuals that are showing interest to actually support you on your program of learning. Part of the program is that we ask you to complete a project outline. This is nothing to concern yourself about, but it's important for me to highlight what this is and why we do this. As you're going through a program like this, it's important for you to have a scaffold on which you can understand where the learnings will come from across self, team, and profession. So the project outline is very much something that we see as a reflective learning tool that will start as a concept and as an idea. And by the time you get to the end of the 6 months worth of learning, you'll be able to present back to your peers a project outline of the title that's on the screen there in front of you. So it's to complete a project outlined for a project you believe will improve person-centered outcomes within your area of work. And what the college would love to see is, during your journey of learning as part of this Inspire journey, what have you learned and how has this project benefited? You're not being assessed at all, you're not being challenged. It's quite simply a reflective learning tool. So that's all I wanted to take you through with regards to the program itself. Let's carry on then into the application process. Last year, we had 120 applicants, or actually more than 120 applicants for the 18 places available. We have decided to stick again with 18 places available, due mainly to logistics, the rooms that we're using, but also that number worked really well with regards to materials and content that we developed. For those of you that are interested in applying, I would strongly suggest that you have a look at the application pack that's been pulled together by the college, because in there's a very clear overview, gets into more detail about the program objectives. You'll know about the dates, the selection criteria, which is important, which I will come on to in a couple of slides' time, and then more about the contributors. You've got 1 full month to apply, and we are within that month. And then a project team of 4, maybe 5 people this year will take another month to choose a successful candidate. So it's absolutely and certainly not a rushed process. And I'm sure you will understand, to get 18 people out of 120 applications last year was not easy, but it just showed the caliber of the people that applied, which was fantastic, and shows the need and the appetite to develop something like this through your college. Full cover was made for protected characteristics and geography, so there's good representation across all 4 countries, and it is reflective of the profession and membership as a whole. So for this year, applications are currently open. They close at 5 o'clock on the 14th of July. One thing I am going to impress upon you, please, don't leave it until the last minute. We were panicking last year that we only had a couple through in the first week. And then, if you remember rightly, Steve, we had a flood of them coming through at the end, which is good to see that people are taking the time to apply. But if you believe you've got the right information, put your application in. Please don't leave it until the last minute, because we had 1 or 2 people that were struggling that went over the 5 o'clock cutoff date, and we have to be brutal and harsh on that. That is the cutoff date for application. And then the announcement of those successful candidates will be on the 11th of August. And we'll send out communication both to those that are successful and those that aren't. So key points I would like to raise, and almost take this as your hints and tips for the evening, because you've been good enough to actually give up your time this evening. Have a look through that application pack. There's some key information in there that will support your application. Take key note of the selection criteria. We've purposely broken this down into experience and then into knowledge and attributes. And we've looked at essential and desirable characteristics. Those CVs and expressions of interest that were very welcoming to read last year were those that aligned their CVs and expressions of interest to the selection criteria that we had put down. So that's my little hint for you this evening. Make sure that you align to that. So we are asking you to complete the questionnaire that is part of the application, as well as put together and pull together a CV of a maximum of 2 pages. Please don't go over the 2 pages, because you will be excluded. Expression of interest, a maximum of 250 words. I won't repeat what I've just said on the last bullet point, but don't go over 250 words. And what we are asking you to capture is how you believe this RCSLT Leadership Programme will assist my own professional development. If you can link back some of that back to the selection criteria, I would suggest you do so. So a few of the key, I would say, selection criteria specific to experience are the ones, excuse me, that are in front of you. The one that we've absolutely stuck to is, or the two that we have had questions outside of these 2 points, but for the benefit of two things, for the benefit of the materials and content that's developed, it's important to understand that this program has been developed for those that are post-qualified by 2 years, but then also that you are aspiring to apply for a role of leadership within 12 months of the program completing, and for you to show that and express that and give evidence of it, or you've been appointed within a role of leadership responsibility in the last 6 months. So please do understand that some people have wanted to apply for a program like this that fall outside of that category, but we've developed the content on the back of that understanding. So if you do fall out of that band, I would say don't apply, because your application will be rejected. And then we've taken the selection criteria further and even listed out for you what RCSLT believe is the ideal applicant. And all the points are down there for you to read through. This is all highlighted in the application pack as well. Another key point that we pull out in this is that you are obliged to attend all the dates that we put down. Please make sure that you can attend them. We do realize things that happen during the year that you can't get out of. We will support you as much as possible, but from the outset of the program, we expect you to hold those dates that we set. The last point is another important one, is support from a line manager or organizational permission to apply. If you can get that in writing, all the better. And if you are an independent practitioner, a statement from a mentor would be beneficial for your application. So just read into that as what you will, but do try and get some information around support from manager and or mentor, please. That's all that I've got to go through now. Let me just get out of this. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen through all of that. Before I open up to the floor for questions, Vicky, would you like to add anything in from a RCSLT perspective?
Thanks, Rich. Yes, so hi everyone. I'm Vicky Harris, Head of Learning at RCSLT. I'm so excited to be having this conversation today. Hopefully you'll be applying, and I suggest that you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, particularly from the experiences that our first cohort had. So there's that. I would also say that the programme around the self, the team and the profession very much evolved from our professional development framework, which came out of consultation with members. So it is based on what members feel is leadership within the profession. So it's very, very special to the speech and language therapy profession. And, you know, with those projects as well, you will be bringing it right back to your clinical focus. So it's an amazing opportunity, and I'd invite you to apply. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Victoria, Danielle, or Olivia, without putting cohort 1 on the spot, is there anything that you would like to add? Now, this is about your leadership abilities. Go.
Sure, I'll go ahead.
Thank you very much, Victoria.
Thank you. So I'm Victoria from cohort 1. I'd say if you're on the fence about applying, just jump off the fence and just go ahead and do it, because I think as therapists, we are such giving people. Our love language is acts of service, but with this program, it really allowed me to invest in myself. And I think I learned so much on this course. It gave me a great insight into who I am as a person, as a therapist. It allowed me to champion my strengths through the spotlight profile, whilst learning the importance of adaptability and how to take that to become an effective leader. So you'll be well supported, well challenged. I think you'll really enjoy it.
That's lovely, Victoria, and thank you so much for sharing it. And throughout the program, I know Victoria and I have had one-to-one conversations, because once you start the program, you have me for 6 months, and then my challenge to Victoria was always to get off that fence. And I'll take it as far as to say that Victoria's been invited to the next Board of Trustee meetings to present to the board, which is just fantastic. So well done to you. Danielle or Olivia, not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, hi Rich, I'll go next. I'm Olivia, I'm from cohort 1. Just to say, follow on from what Victoria said, that the programme helped me learn a lot about myself as a person and as a clinician, but just to really let you all to know tonight that it helps and it works. I haven't even had the chance to chat to Rich about this just yet, but I was successful at interview last week for a lead clinician post. And one of my questions was, talk about a project in which you demonstrated leadership and what your reflections on that were. And I just thought, thank goodness I did that Inspire course, because it really, I came into that answer confident and heard from my feedback that was my best answer of the interview. So even 6 months ago, I don't think I would have given the same answer as I did then. So it really does just equip you with the tools that you need to go for it and try these posts. I'm not even sure if I would have applied for it had I have not been on this course. So it really does give you what you need in your toolkit to move along. So yeah, would definitely recommend.
That is lovely. Thank you so much for sharing. You're going to get me welled up again, Olivia. Well done, you. Try and top that one, Danielle.
Yeah, I haven't got anything to top that. I'm so sorry, but that's really great. And I haven't really got much to add to what Olivia and Victoria said, but except that it was a really good opportunity for networking, meeting other speech therapists in other roles that you just don't come across when you're, for example, I'm adult acute, so that's all I see. It was nice to meet all the range of speech therapists and be inspired. And it's called, our one was called Inspire, and it was really inspiring to meet everybody. But yeah, basically what everyone's already said, so I won't go on.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And you've actually pulled out a really key point there, that the element around networking is so strong within this group, and it's something that was so welcoming to see. Not only was there really good engagement when we were face to face or even the evening seminars, but the strings of emails that I got through just about praise for each other and some of the projects that you've been working on is great. And cohort 1 went even further and developed their own little WhatsApp group. And that's a lovely little group to see what things are firing off and what they're doing at the moment. So a feel good opportunity with the networking opportunity. So thank you to all of you that have shared thoughts about year 1 and the construct of the program. Do any of you that have come on this evening would like to ask me or the college some questions? Yes, Lloyd, thank you for putting your hand up.
I'm very polite, so I thought I'd use the hand up function. But it's kind of also a bit of a question, not just for you guys at Royal College, but for the people who are from cohort 1 as well, I suppose. Can you give us a little bit of a flavour of what your projects were about? Because I feel like that's kind of something that there wasn't lots of information on the website about, because obviously it's quite individual to you guys, isn't it? So yeah, if you're happy to share a little bit, that'd be amazing.
It's a great question, Lloyd. Thank you. Jump in, chaps.
So I'll go first.
Thank you, Victoria.
So my project was about EOTAS children. So that's children that are educated other than at school. And within my service, there's a high DNA rate, so they're not attending. And so my project was about that, exploring what are the reasons, because we can make assumptions on why they're not coming. But we created a survey for families and for the children to explore what are the reasons and how can we improve our service so that you can access it better.
Thanks, Victoria.
Yeah.
Lloyd, I'm from an adult learning disability background. My project was really about supporting speech therapy assistants and new clinicians and how to help meet the specialist goals of our ALD population, given what that we do is quite niche. But the presentation and what the ask isn't really about the content of the project, more what you learned about yourself. So yes, that was the topic of my project, but I learned that I need to get better at delegating. I learned what started as a very small project for 1 or 2 clinicians. Through my lessons in promoting the profession, learn more about Royal College, I've learned how to kind of scale and spread it. So the topic is what it is. It's a big focus on how you were able to apply the learning from the course and how it helped move that project along, if that makes sense.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Olivia.
Daniel, anything to add? You don't need to.
No, mine was just about getting some EMST devices. I work with a lot of people with motor neuron disease. So looking at how I start providing a service for expiratory and muscle strength training for that group of people. Ours sound quite, the 3 that are here, like patient specific, but a lot of people did projects on team wellbeing and things like that, which were really good and really interesting. So it doesn't have to be like a patient specific project if there's something within the team or thing that you think would be helpful as well. But yeah.
Thanks, Daniel. And that's a good point. It doesn't have to be on something that's patient specific, but it's that thought that the patient's going to benefit. Downstream, downline, whatever that might be. It needed to be generic enough about the service user. And it absolutely, as all 3 from cohort 1 expressed, and especially what Olivia expressed, is it's not to worry too much about the project itself. It's about your learnings on the program. And let me explain it a slightly different way, just to alleviate any concern about the project. We could have at the end of the program said, right, your program is finished. What have you learned, and tell me about the program, which is not as sincere as it is as somebody who's actually learning and using a scaffold like a project to express about self, team, and profession. And at no time are you being assessed about it. So it's just an opportunity to engage. So thank you for that question, Lloyd. Before I go on to our other colleagues that are asking questions, Victoria, you put your hand up. Was it related to what we're talking about? Just so I can jump to question 3 before the other 2. Thank you.
Yeah, just quickly to add to all those sort of discussions about the really great projects. From my point of view, it's really interesting as well that people were able to relate the projects back to that learning from the spotlight work. So people, as they were going through their projects, some of them reflected on the fact that they started out doing things one way and they realized it wasn't working with their team or whatever. And then they realized they had to reflect on what they'd learned from their spotlight and then adjust the way that they do things to meet people in a different way. So it's a really good vehicle for that. So testing things out, what you've learned about yourself, testing it out in the real world. So yeah, I just wanted to add that as well, because that was really interesting to see.
Thanks, Vicky. That's the lovely lens that you've put on it there. Thank you. So you happy with that answer, Lloyd?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thanks for giving me a lot to think about, obviously.
Good. Thank you. Hayley, your hand was up next.
Hello. Yes, it's just a question regarding the criteria. I'm actually currently in a leadership role and I have been for a number of years, but I'm very much self-taught and haven't actually had any formal training. Does that mean I can't apply? Am I not eligible because of that?
Unfortunately, because the way that's been structured,
Yeah.
Yes. We've had 1 or 2 people in a very similar situation to you, wanting to apply. You need to understand that with 120 people applying for just 18 places, we have to be quite stringent. But that's not to say there's nothing else available. So I would strongly suggest, Hayley, you're more than welcome to get in touch with me directly. But if you want to do it through the college, there is a leadership email address. It's leadership@rcslt.org. That goes through a lady called Jo Offen, and I know Vicky picks up on some of those, and we'll absolutely signpost you to other relevant materials and other programs that are available.
Thank you.
But thank you for asking the question, and sorry for being so direct on that.
That's all right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure. Francis, I think you were next, or your hand was up.
Hi, yeah, mine was a very similar question. In fact, it was exactly the same question, but I've been in a clinical lead role for about a year. So I just wondered, would that exclude me as well from the criteria, or could I pop in an application?
Let me just make 100% sure, because I've got to do it for the wording that's on.
Yeah, it says within a 6-month period, I think.
Within 12 months of the program completion, or have been appointed as a lead for the last 6 months. If it's a shorter period of time and you're a few months over that, it's dependent on what leadership responsibilities you've had for that time. So if you've been in a leadership role that you haven't really been expressing leadership responsibilities for longer than 6 months, apply, but you just need to express that narrative within your application.
Okay, right. Okay.
If you borderline, apply,
Yeah.
and even state we had this conversation on the webinar. Just use the ammunition that you've got.
Okay. Thank you.
I see my screen's gone very dark, so it's just because we've amazingly got some good sunlight here. Laura, you were next for a question.
Yeah, actually, I think we're all asking similar questions. So I am an independent therapist. So if I step up from kind of where my current leadership is into the next level of leadership, can I still apply? Or is it any leadership experience?
It's how you determine leadership. The struggle we have always with applications like this is it's what's that variance between leadership and management, and what you truly believe is a leadership role. Is that clinical leadership, or is it outside of the clinical role itself? Again, if you can support that through the narrative that you put within your application, especially within your CV, we will monitor that accordingly.
Okay. And then I had another just question about needing a statement from your mentor. Are you looking for clinical supervisor as your statement from your mentor, or can it be somebody that's more on the
organizational,
non-clinical side?
Yeah, absolutely fine. And it's that individual that believes you would benefit from being on the program and supports you to be on the program. So it doesn't have to be a clinical mentor, no.
And if do you just want one? So if both support, do you still just want one statement?
Got more than one? Put more than one in the leadership program.
Perfect. Thank you.
Fraser.
Yeah, I'm gonna go from the other end. So I did the leadership placement with the RCSLT and was quite inspired by that. So that's sort of where my interest comes from. But I just saw the 2-year post-graduation requirement. Just wondered again, is it worth me applying? I'm only a year into practice, or am I running before I can walk, essentially?
I think for that criteria, it was just to make sure that people were not fresh out of college, but the 2-year has been placed down. So if you're open and honest about that in your application, state it.
Yeah.
But I would strongly suggest you apply.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, can I come in there, Rich, as well? Because I think it's important. Because Fraser, so how long have you been qualified now? Like to this date?
To this date, just under a year.
Okay, so by the time the program starts in October, you'll be what, a year and 8 months or something like that, right? A year and 6 months.
Yeah, a bit under that. Yeah, a year and 4 maybe.
That's a good point, because we'll take that into consideration.
Yeah. I really encourage you to apply that.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, and even applying, it's the way we've set it out as a process. It'll support you for onward applications anyway. But do apply if you fall within the boundary. Apply.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got a question now from Nadine.
Hi, just wondering in terms of the statements that you're wanting from line manager or service manager, is there any guidance in the application pack around what you want those sort of senior members of staff to say about our application, or do you want them to say like within the next 6 months we will have a higher banded post available, or what sort of things? Because I guess I'm a little bit unsure as to how I can demonstrate that, I would love to apply for a leadership role, but at the moment in the service and I guess the demographic within the NHS is that those opportunities are quite sparse on the ground, and it's just thinking about how I can demonstrate that I feel ready and I'm willing to apply, but
I don't think there's like actually a goalpost that I'm necessarily working to just the now with in terms of what is available out there.
It's a very good question, Nadine, and thank you for asking, because it did come up last year. It's knowing that you are aspiring to apply, and if you can reflect that back in from support from your manager. The support from your manager, we haven't been prescriptive, and we purposely haven't done that because we can't tell your manager what to say. But it's more that they support you to be on the program, and also that they believe you will be applying yourself to apply for a leadership role.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Daniel, did you want to support on that?
Yeah, I was just going to add, not to overthink it really, because I from memory, I just sort of put in my application that I discussed the program with my manager, and she felt it would be beneficial for my continued learning into leadership. And I think that's all I went into it, and I got selected. So it doesn't need to be, there's not a lot of room on the application, so don't take a lot of it up, I would say. But obviously, Rich, you confirm.
Yeah, no, I confirm that. There was only one or two that we picked up directly with managers, but that's just because there was a misunderstanding of the information that was shared. So yes, I would agree with what you said, Daniel.
Yeah, and Rich, if I can come in again, Daniel, sorry, the sun's shining in my eyes, so I can't even see the screen. Nadine, for me, it's about two things. One is that your line manager is happy to support you attending the program, because as Rich said right at the beginning, the key thing is that we need all of the cohort to attend every single event, whether it's in person in London or in the evening events. So it's about making sure that your manager is willing and supportive for you to do that. And then it's the second piece is just about a few lines from your line manager to say, that he or she believes that you would benefit from this program. And as long as they see the detail of the program and understand the impact it could have on you and your development, then I think that's what would be expecting from it. But it's, there's no way we can say to you, you've got to find a higher post within the next 6 months, because that's just not realistic in today's world, certainly in the NHS. So I think, as long as you've got the support from your manager to do the program, and they believe you're the right person for it, then I would apply, definitely.
Thanks, Steve. We're not going to hold you to account. We don't hunt you down. Nadine, have you got another question?
No, sorry, I just haven't put my hand down. There we go.
Always just easy to. Well, thank you very much for those questions that have come through so far. Anybody else got any questions they want to ask now in this group environment? I'll take that as a long enough pause for myself. So if no one else has got any more questions, what I would suggest, Vicky, if you could turn off the recording.